Professor Hanke, thank you that you accepted my invitation.
No
It will
problem.
be really big pleasure for my audience to hear what you have to say about the Bulgarian adoption of the euro. Before we start, I just want to make sure my audience will follow your Twitter account for expert insights on economics, currency boards, and global markets. Link will be in the description and comments of this video.
My last two books that I wrote, one is Capital Interest and Waiting with Leland Yeager, and the other one is Making Money Work with Matt Sekerke.
A little bit of introduction about the books. Here is just a quick review from Jane Noddle that she says the book about making money work, which is with Matt Sekerke. This book provides a deep critique of the monetary and financial system in the US as it has evolved since the global financial crisis. Its main audience will include academics, central bankers, and policymakers who will be treated to data-rich institutional analysis and fresh thinkingly informed by a wide range of intellectual approaches in monetary and macroeconomics. And about the second book, Capital Interest and Waiting.
On the capital interest and waiting, I think it's important that you read the attribution that Nobel laureate Vernon Smith wrote about it, and also the one that Professor Richard Vedder wrote. They're two kind of endorsements of the book, and they're short and they're, I think, effective.
All right. Let's start with the first question. One of the people's biggest fears is that prices will jump after adopting the euro. Are these fears justified for the Bulgarians?
I don't know for certain what the answer is to that, Mario. And the reason for that is that some time ago, and several times, Jacques de la Rosière, who happens to be the former managing director of the International Monetary Fund, former governor of the Banque de France, former president of the eBird, and John Greenwood, who was the architect of the Hong Kong Currency Board that was installed in 1983, the three of us offered to do an expert's study at no charge, pro bono, free, for Bulgaria to look at the effects, the benefits and cost of changing from the lev and the currency board to the euro. And we said that we would do that if we received an invitation from either the government, the parliament, the Bulgarian National Bank, or the president of the republic. And we never received anything. There was no interest. So as a result, I have not done the sharp pencil work required to answer the question that you just asked me, and that is whether there'd be a price jump with the adoption of the euro. I don't know the answer because I haven't studied it, and the reason I didn't study it is because the Bulgarian establishment, the elites, never asked three of the world's greatest experts to do a study, an expert's report. They were silent. The elites don't want to hear from any outside experts. They don't want any information. And the reason for that is that fundamentally, the political elites in Bulgaria are arrogant, incompetent, and corrupt.
Absolutely. Do you think that this decision actually is coming from Brussels more than from Sofia, and this is why they actually didn't ask you?
Well, initially, there's a history to this. So if you go back, the initiation for the adoption of the euro, it originated in Sofia with the elites in Sofia. And in fact, Brussels and Frankfurt were resistant. They were resisting the entry. They always had some excuse that Bulgaria didn't qualify. And all of a sudden, that resistance changed, and it changed for geopolitical reasons, and that's mainly because of the war in Ukraine. So the origin of the idea was Sofia, but resistance initially was found in Brussels and Frankfurt, and that resistance changed all of a sudden as the geopolitical developments changed in Europe, and particularly with the war in Ukraine. So the reason they got in, by the way, it's a phony reason. The inflation numbers, they doctored the numbers so that they could get in. And that's what I mean. The resistance stopped, and Brussels basically let the Bulgarians put in phony inflation numbers, and they allowed them to get in. So the whole thing is basically a corrupt sham.
I see.
Corrupt on both sides, by the way. Not only Sofia, but Brussels. And all the technical people know it's a sham.
So basically, if it weren't this war in Ukraine, there will be no adoption for the Bulgaria about the euro.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, can you give a forecast? What can the Bulgarian economy expect in the first 5 years when they actually adopt the euro? Will there be some hardships or no?
I don't think there will be harsh shifts, because you don't understand. With the currency board, you're already de facto in the Eurozone. The anchor for the lev is what? It's the euro. The lev is a clone of the euro. That's why there's no reason to go into the zone formally, because once you go in formally, you can't get out. And now you're informally in, you get all the advantages, plus the fact that you keep your reserves in Sofia, and you make a profit on the reserves that back the lev. And once you go in, where are the reserves going? They're going from the Bulgarian National Bank to Frankfurt. So basically, in a way, the Bulgarians have done a stupidity. They're shooting themselves in the foot. They have all the advantages of the euro right now, because the lev is a clone of the euro, and you are in the eurozone. That's what dictates monetary policy. It's what the ECB does. The Bulgarian National Bank has no monetary policy. It has an exchange rate policy. The lev trades at a fixed exchange rate with the euro, and that's it. That's the way I designed the thing. So they have the advantages of being in the zone, and they have additional advantages of the currency board. One is that they make a profit on the reserves that they have, and two, they retain the option to change the anchor. If something should go wrong with the euro, the Bulgarians with the currency board, they could change the anchor to the US dollar or something else. And allow me to mention to you, Mario, that, and I think this is worth mentioning, and in a way breaking news, I've been invited to the White House on this coming Wednesday, and I will be talking about Bulgaria's currency board. And how interesting it would be to change the anchor to the US dollar right now.
Is that possible, actually?
Yes. Why do you think I'm going to the White House if it wasn't possible?
Well, I'm just asking the questions that the audience want to hear.
Okay, the answer is one word: yes.
But does the Bulgarian government actually can do it? This current Bulgarian government?
Oh, they could change. They could do whatever they wanted to do. You're not locked into entering the euro, getting rid of the lev and the currency board and adopting the euro on January 1, 2026. And until you do it, you're not obliged to do anything. And in fact, given the membership in the EU, that of course Bulgaria is in the EU, that simply obliges members of the EU to eventually adopt the euro. But that could be an infinity. There's no date. It just says eventually. There's no mandate that you must adopt the euro as of some certain date. It's an indefinite mandate.
That's why
It could be 100 years. It could be 200 years. It could be 1,000 years.
yes, and we see actually countries like Poland, Romania, the Scandinavian countries, they don't do it. They don't adopt the euro. And
no, and some of them have pretty much indicated that they don't plan on doing it in our lifetimes. They'll put it off forever. They'll never join, and they're not mandated to join in any definite date.
And actually, it doesn't feel that they are actually pushed, but here in Bulgaria, the people feel that Bulgaria is actually pushed into the eurozone. And
well, that's because the Bulgarian politicians never listen to the Bulgarian public. The Bulgarian politicians, as I said, are arrogant, incompetent, and corrupt, and they don't listen to the population. What the public wants is irrelevant. The elites are marching to a different drummer.
Absolutely. Well,
that's by the way, that's one reason that Bulgarians don't even vote. They know the politicians don't represent them, so they don't even go to vote. And that's what I think is very important, by the way, an important point. And the point is that Bulgaria should have a referendum on all important issues, like changing the currency from the lev to the euro. They should have a referendum. They do this in Switzerland, by the way. And that is direct democracy. They should have direct democracy and bypass the politicians in the indirect democratic system, corrupt system that you have in Bulgaria. The indirect democracy is a god that failed in Bulgaria. And it's a god that failed in Bulgaria because of the elites and their corrupt tendencies and their propensity to ignore the public. If the public wants A, the politicians do B in Bulgaria.
I can't agree more. And actually, the thing is that the president right now, Rumen Radev, he actually wanted a referendum. Some politicians actually wanted a referendum, but the constitutional law just didn't approve such thing. They said no.
I know this in detail. I studied it in detail, and President Radev, he came too late to the party, and he was wishy-washy about it. If he wanted to press it, he should have pressed it immediately. He waited too long, and I think it was a He was barking in an empty theater. Basically, the show was over by the time Radev came. He was irrelevant, and if Radev had any courage, he would have invited Jacques de la Rosière, John Greenwood, and myself to do an experts report. There's never been an experts report on this switch from the lev to the euro. And we directly contacted Radef, by the way, just for your information. So Radef knew all about this, and he never did anything. He never even had the courtesy to write us a letter.
That's interesting.
That's why I say the political class, they're all in the same bag. You got a rubbish bag. You put them all in there.
A lot of people in Bulgaria actually are saying that he did that, Roman Radev. He wanted a referendum for his own political reasons, not for the idea.
Of course. And that's why it came so late and was meaningless. When he finally said this, the courts had already made their decision. It was over. And he never used any political influence to change things before the court. He didn't do anything except express his preference for a referendum. But then it was too late. The party was over. It was meaningless.
Can you say that actually the elites will be the ones that will benefit from this adoption, and this is why they want it so bad when the people doesn't?
The elites, they think they will benefit, and their thinking is, the basic idea is that twofold. Point number one, they think they'll be able to spend more money and expand the government by entering the Eurozone. And to some extent, I think that is true. The currency board really puts a straitjacket on the politicians, exactly how I designed the thing in 1997. It constrains them. And that's why the fiscal affairs in Bulgaria have been pretty constrained and pretty tight. And that's why Bulgaria's debt ratio to its gross national product is the second lowest in Europe. Why? Because of the currency board that I designed. It's designed to do that. It's designed to put politicians in a fiscal straitjacket. So they want that straitjacket taken off so they can spend more money. That's the first point. The second point is that the Bulgarian political elite, all of them ultimately want to be in Brussels or in some international organization. And they think by adopting the euro that this will get them points that will be looked on favorably by the external people and the people in Brussels and the Brussels bureaucracy. They all ultimately want to go to the Brussels bureaucracy because they make more money, they get bigger pensions. It's a they want to leave Sofia. They want to live in Brussels.
Yes. In Bulgaria, it is often said that those who oppose the adoption of the euro in Bulgaria are attached to Russia in some way. How do you look at that?
I think this is pure propaganda. And by the way, it's back to what I said originally. It does work into the geopolitical propaganda and geopolitical scene that actually has allowed Brussels to lift the brake and let Bulgaria adopt the euro. It's all revolving around the war in Ukraine, Russia, and so forth. So the allegation that somehow keeping the lev as a pro-Russian thing it's utter rubbish. It's actually so stupid it makes me laugh even thinking about it.
a lot of people in Bulgaria that want the euro to be adopted, the first thing they did actually when Rumen Radev said that he wanted a referendum, we go back to this, they said he's a Russian agent, a Kremlin agent, and this is like instant reaction from them for this case.
Yeah.
From case like that.
Just repeat that, Mario. I didn't quite get it.
Yeah, when Rumen Radev said that he wanted a referendum, the people who actually wanted the adoption of the euro, they said immediately that he is a Russian agent.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is part of the Bulgarian. This is part of the propaganda campaign. This is totally part of the propaganda. What the biggest thing, the most important thing about getting rid of the lev and adopting the euro is Russia. And the geopolitics of Russia, and you know, and now you're in this Black Sea security agreement and so forth. It's all tangled up with that. And what's interesting to me, the currency board. Let's back up and put this in context. The currency board is the most credible, important post-communist institution in Bulgaria, and I can say I'm proud that I had something to do with designing it, and implementing it, and so forth. So that's a very important institution. Now, what's happening is Brussels is actually destroying that, and the political elites in Bulgaria. Both of them are really destroying the one credible institution that's not corrupt, that works perfectly as it was designed. They're destroying it.
I have one very simple question. Why the Eurozone is made like that? You can enter, but you can exit. Is this some kind of a path to a European Federation?
That's basically the design of the thing. In a way, there are all kinds of traps that keep members in and eliminate basically destroy their sovereignty. The whole idea is to destroy the sovereignty of the member states to the extent that they can. They can't destroy all of it, but they can destroy a lot of it, and so that's the idea.
So they can destroy whatever they can. They actually put their hands into it.
Yeah, right. So right, and that's a good way to summarize it, Mario.